We're starting to see slowly the rise of altcoins, even if it's not something that we can viscerally feel just yet. Some of the telltale signs, some of the metrics are starting to work in our favor. And I say that you're not feeling it in all likelihood because right now, just observably, the big caps are leaving everyone else in their dust. They are making all the gains. That's kind of the story of these last few weeks. So let's compare a couple of our favorite big caps and ask which you should hold in your portfolio, which one you'd be better off holding, XRP or SEI. Both altcoins right now hold massive upside potential. Really, this represents a clash between a proven powerhouse in the form, of course, of Ripple XRP and a newer kid on the block with arguably a whole lot more runway. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest. Maybe that's into XRP, maybe that's into SEI, maybe that's into the other altcoins that we cover. Whatever the case may be, I genuinely wish you well. But just remember, I am not a financial or investment advisor, and that means by extension, this video is not official financial or investment advice. So let's start off here with the case for Ripple, and of course its XRP token. For reference, you can check our recent and pretty popular video about XRP. I'll include that link in the description below. But one of the main driving factors right now for Ripple, and again, XRP, is the very significant institutional adoption that we've been seeing pretty much across the board. For example, in a recent move, Ripple applied for a national bank charter, and in theory, this would give Ripple regulation on both federal and state level. That means it would put Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin in a pretty prime position for crossover use between Web 2 and Web 3. And that RLUSD stablecoin has not performed as well as a lot of us would have expected, and that could change. Certainly, this condition here, this contingency would help it along and I would argue, provide a big boost in performance. Furthermore, Brad Garlinghouse also mentioned that Ripple applied for a Fed master account, Garlinghouse, of course, being Ripple's CEO. This would give Ripple direct access to the Federal Reserve, not through a bank or a proxy. This will give Ripple full banking privileges if approved. And that's a big if, but you could see kind of where their ambitions lie. XRPL, that's the XRP ledger or blockchain, is also now EVM compatible. This is possible with the XRPL EVM sidechain, meaning that you can now use Ethereum tools to build on XRPL. Axelar now integrates with the XRPL with over 50 other chains. So this brings DEXs, but also DeFi apps, RWA, and NFTs to the XRPL. It's a big deal. And then, of course, like I mentioned with that institutional adoption, there are also 19 XRP ETF filings waiting for approval right now. That is by far the highest number of ETF filings for any one given token. And in this case, it includes some massive players in the space, including Franklin Templeton, 21 Shares, and Grayscale, among others, of course. And according to Polymarket, chances of approval at some point in 2025 are currently at 87%. So that's the wisdom of the crowd here. That's their best estimate, 87%. We also see institutions adding XRP to their strategic reserves. For example, and we've covered this, Weebus, that's a Chinese firm, they want to add $300 million worth of XRP to their strategic reserve. Hyperscale Data is another firm. They also want to get into the action here. A little bit more modestly, though. They want to add $10 million worth of XRP to their strategic reserve. However, still worth reporting, still worth discussing. That's a big deal. And in the UAE, VARA, that's V-A-R-A, the Dubai Financial Services Authority, they've already added XRP. You can use XRP now for global money transfers throughout Dubai. Ripple and XRP, as you can see, lean very heavily on institutional adoption. The current price of XRP, if we look at the last year, is up over 440%, believe it or not. It's sitting right now at $2.29 with a $135 billion market cap. It ranks, of course, number 4 across all tokens. But the thing that really stands out is the circulating supply of XRP compared to the total supply, because after 10 years, and this is not a good figure, but there's still, after 10 years, not even 60%, unfortunately, of XRP in circulation. The max supply is 100 billion XRP and 59 billion circulate. This is one of the reasons why Ripple gets a lot of criticism. And, you know, I would say rightfully so. Maybe it's not a big deal to you, but it's not the best in terms of tokenomics, again, for a project of this age. It's just too easy to dump a billion XRP or $2.29 billion right now on the market by the team. And that is something that we see happen. As you have seen these last few days and these last few weeks, we've been talking about slowly unveiling a new project that we're very proud of here at Altcoin Buzz. Check out the link in the description below. We're inviting all of our viewers to try it, to check it out. Once again, you can find the link and participate in the description below. Let's now get into the case of the SEI network and the SEI token. SEI is a totally different beast altogether compared to Ripple. It's kind of like the new kid on the block. SEI's mainnet launched in August 2023, so just under 2 years ago, and together with the SEI token at the same time. XRP has 10 years on SEI, if you think about it. We recently talked about SEI in a whole lot of detail in this recent video. Check that one out if you've not already. I will also link to that below. But essentially, the SEI network is built for high-frequency trading. And to clarify, DeFi is one of the spear points for SEI. SEI's TVL has skyrocketed to over $600 million recently. It's got one of the fastest finality scores in the crypto sector, hands down. And finality is important. It represents when a transaction can't be reversed anymore. So you could think of paying for something, for example, with your credit card. You know there are plenty of funds in your account to pay for the item, but you actually still have to wait at least a few moments before the settlement finally officially clears. SEI's finality in this context is 400 milliseconds, and financial transactions need fast settlements so that the assets can change hands quickly at the agreed upon price. This is a very, very important metric and one that's working very well in their favor. Its max TPS, or transactions per second, is also very, very impressive. Soon, this is going to be around 250,000 TPS. Which is actually fast enough to keep up with the big players in Web 2, apps like Google, actually, believe it or not. They can handle up to 100,000 complex TPS. It's going to be SEI's new Giga feature that'll take care of all of this. Right now, this is still a work in progress for the time being, but it's important because, again, financial transactions need fast confirmation. This means that Giga is a big deal for the SEI network, especially considering that SEI is moving away from the Cosmos ecosystem. SEI will become an EVM chain, and current EVM chains can only offer up to 5,000 TPS. And so with Giga, SEI positions itself as one of the leading chains inside the EVM ecosystem. Furthermore, SEI is also active in AI, which is, as we all know, another very promising sector, especially in terms of its overlap with cryptocurrency. This also ensures that SEI doesn't put all its eggs in just one basket. Diversification in this sense at the level of a project and what they're doing is good and gives a project more options to survive, not only survive, but to thrive as well. If we look now at the SEI token, it's up only modestly over the course of the last year compared to XRP. It's not exactly the same story. SEI right now trades at 26.24 cents with a $1.457 billion market cap. So it's actually more sizable than you may have thought. It's kind of a medium range market cap among crypto projects. And this would place SEI at number 76 in CoinGecko's list at least. The max number of SEI tokens is 10 billion, and the circulating supply is 5.5 billion tokens, so 55%, which actually almost represents the same percentage as XRP, but for, again, a much, much younger project. All right, time now for a decision between Ripple, XRP, and SEI Network. Our first battle of the big caps here is coming to an end. And I should say that both projects, either way, we expect are set to shine this coming bull run and alt season. But again, we have to choose a winner. XRP is an established player. It is getting massive institutional interest. Ripple is also strong on the regulatory side with the SEC, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission case, which is pretty much dropping completely. It is a low-risk choice, but due to its high market cap, there's limited upside here. That's just a function of the numbers. Then, on the other hand, Sei Network is a pretty dynamic new player with cutting-edge blockchain technology. Very, very impressive numbers there. It's designed for trading, like DeFi, but also it's now exploring AI, artificial intelligence. Specifically, though, because of its much smaller market cap, I mean, it's roughly 1% the market cap of Ripple, the potential gains here can be a lot higher with SEI. For those that are interested in these projects, I would probably expect the investor profiles for both of them to be quite different, actually. And in a related way, I would say that the way that the market moves actually may kind of decide on its own who the winner between these two may be. In other words, is the market going to prefer institutional finance or favor things like DeFi, trading apps? I like XRP, don't get me wrong, but in the case of these two projects with this matchup head to head, I got to go with SEI just because they have very lofty ambitions. They're trying to do a lot. They're fundamentally looking very solid. I think more of that institutional interest will follow, but they're obviously very young and very new compared to Ripple XRP. And then it just comes down to a function of the market cap. They just have so much more room for growth, the SEI token specifically in terms of upward price appreciation potential versus XRP. So for me, just SEI is a more exciting project. I think they're kind of doing cooler things. Certainly Ripple has lofty ambitions as well, but as a function of their market caps and their size, I'm going with SEI on this one. I love them both though. Let me know your thoughts about this matchup in the comments below. If you agree, maybe you disagree, give me your feedback. Also be sure to join our ongoing discussions that are happening both on X and Discord. Those links can also be found below.